Yeah.
About that.
It's showtime.
Welcome to the YATCast. This episode is about rights, personal, states, and federal. But first, I'd like to give many thanks to all my real life and Facebook friends from all over the spectrum who keep challenging me to dig deeper and discover the underlying strata of what is actually going on. So let's get started. In episode 1, I discussed our founding documents, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and what the one most important secret is. They're amazing documents. Our founders said what they meant and meant what they said. There's nothing extraneous, no useless words. They are written so that everyone can understand. You don't need to be a scholar because it's not rocket science. As of this episode, rights are in the news a lot, from speech to guns to equality. But what are rights? Rights are a moral or legal entitlement to have or obtain something or to act in a certain way. They are entitlements that are inherent to each citizen or constituent entity, also known as states, just because they exist. They cannot be removed on a whim. It takes an adjudication in a court of law, and even then it is limited as to what can be done. In the case of the United States, states have the right to set up their own government, regulate business within their borders, and so forth. Most states have set up governments reflective of the U.S. Constitution with the same basic rights as the federal government. The basic rights for our government were set forth under the Articles of Confederation. The major difference between the Articles of Confederation and the Constitution are that the Constitution has added teeth through the enforcement by the Article 2 branch and adjudication by the Article 3 branch. Each branch has been afforded rights that cannot be violated by the other branches. A fact for you. The Constitution only enumerates 2 personal rights and 1 implied personal right. The 2 enumerated ones are electing representatives for the House of Representatives and selecting electors for the Electoral College for the selection of president. The implied right is that you are allowed to run for office. The states have 2 rights. They select senators, and they select a handful of delegates for the Electoral College. Why? Well, that will be covered in an upcoming episode. Most people are concerned with a few personal rights and ignore one of the most important. 2 hot-button rights right now are Clause 1 of the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, both of which a very vocal crowd are misreading, not misinterpreting, because our founding documents don't require a degree in rocket science. The one that doesn't get nearly as much play is the Ninth Amendment, which reads as follows: The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Why? Why would they do that? Well, to start, we need to go back in time again. King George, he had the ultimate word, the last word. His rule was uncontested. Few rights were enjoyed by the people. Even then, they could be easily abridged by a whim of the king or one of his appointed governors. Now, our country is founded upon all men are created equal, meaning each citizen has all the rights of all the others. Everything about the United States is predicated upon this. We'll cover that a little more in depth in another episode. The Ninth Amendment ties into all men are created equal in the Declaration of Independence, which I covered in the episode 3. It makes sure that it is understood that the Bill of Rights are not all of them. They did a limited enumeration, although there are 8 listed in the Bill of Rights and a whole list in the Declaration of Independence. They would have felt an exhaustive list impractical. They left it to the future to decide what rights exist. Now, rights have limits. Even conservative Supreme Court Judge Antonin Scalia said as much. Your rights end where mine begins. Your rights end when it violates my rights. For example, you don't want a violent felon having input into laws or deciding rights that would benefit themselves by reducing or eliminating penalties for being violent. So you may not want felons holding elected office. You may not want felons being lobbyists. So think on that for a little bit. And I want to thank you for spending some time with me, and I'll see you at the next YATCast. Are you enjoying the YATCast? Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/YATCast. That's https://www.patreon.com/YATCast.